Joining us live now is the new Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Anthony Albanese, first of all, congratulations. We're still getting used to saying that title. You must still be getting used to hearing it.
Thanks very much, Peter. I am indeed, and we're in Marrickville, not far from my home, and having the flag on C1, I'm still getting used to.
OK, well, you're straight into quite a few quagmires. We'll start with China, Prime Minister. It, as you know, is moving at speed to lock up the Pacific, potentially 10 nations with security deals. How much of a threat is this to our national security?
We need to step up, not step back, which is what occurred under the former government. We clearly need to support the sort of programs that we put forward at the election. This was the context for us saying we wanted an Australian Pacific Defence training facility, that we wanted to take further action in supporting Pacific Island nations on maritime security, that we wanted an additional $500 million of aid into the Pacific, and that we wanted to work with the island nations of the Pacific on climate change, as well as facilitate migration issues, be it temporary or permanent migration from our Pacific Island neighbours. We are also stepping up. Penny Wong, my Foreign Minister, is visiting Fiji today. We'll do work in the lead up to the Pacific Island Forum that'll be held in coming weeks. And it's important that we take the changing geostrategic environment in our region seriously. And that's why last year, I don't understand how it is that you had the former Foreign Minister Payne take a submission for increased aid. Last year, at the end of last year, we knew these things were happening. The advice was there from Foreign Affairs and Trade, and action wasn't taken. My government will take action. We will engage much more strongly with our neighbours. OK, but
back to this deal, though, that involves up to 10 Pacific nations. I mean, the alarm bells must be ringing more than they were a week ago.
Well, we've known that China is seeking to extend its influence into the region. During the election campaign, the Solomon Islands deal, of course, was front and centre. But we know that from China's perspective, that's just the first of a range of deals that they want to exercise. Australia needs to respond to the changed environment. It was an issue at the Quad Leaders Summit. It's why one of the context for myself making sure that Australia was represented at that Quad Leaders meeting.
So you're powerless to stop it, though, aren't you? If these nations want to sign these security deals with China, you're powerless to stop them from doing that, aren't you?
Well, they're sovereign nations and we need to respect their sovereignty, but we also need to engage with them. You know, we're paying a heavy price for the cuts to aid that occurred. Aid is often debated in a way of, do you want money for something domestically here, or do you want foreign aid? The truth is that international aid is not only the right thing to do to developing countries, it is in our national interest to engage and to provide support to developing nations. Australia has a proud record of doing that. Under my government, there will be front and centre support, and the fact that this proposition put forward to the budget process last year was rejected. That won't happen under my government. We've already made these serious commitments. We'll continue to engage as well on people-to-people relations. The parliamentary exchanges with Pacific Island nations was cut back. Malcolm Turnbull had it in place and it was cut back in recent times. We need to step it up, not cut back.
Yeah, you ran through some of the commitments there in your first answer. The Quad has made 5-year climate commitments to the region as well. Some have even suggested that France should be brought in too. Have you or do you plan on reaching out to Emmanuel Macron to begin repairing the relationship?
Emmanuel Macron reached out very soon after the election was clear, and we've had an engagement already. I continue to engage with world leaders. I thank them for the very warm congratulations that I've received, person to person, of course, from President Biden, Prime Minister Kishida and Prime Minister Modi just over recent days. This is a government that has got to work on day one, literally.
Right.
And we've already got those programs underway and exchanges, and we'll have more to say on how we develop those relationships going into the future in coming days.
What else did Mr Macron tell you? Was he glad to have seen a change in government? We know what his thoughts were with the previous government.
I'll say this to you, Peter. The way that you develop with leaders when you have exchanges is not to leak the information and the details. So President Macron and I will develop a strong relationship. I'm confident of that. He had a significant election victory as well in recent weeks. I think that is a good thing for the people of France to have made that decision. I congratulated him, of course, when he was elected or re-elected.